Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I started a video. We are a few weeks into 2018 and I have had a few weeks to try out my new system, so I'm really excited to share with you guys what I will be using to plan for 2018. So for 2018, the largest change in my planner system is just that I have more than one planner. So I have been trying for so long to find planner piece in one planner system, and actually the fact that the Erin Condren planner didn't exactly work for me is what kind of got me started into the whole planner community, kind of looking for an alternative. And I've gone from the Erin Condren to other systems, and really I found that this year I'd like to try out using multiple systems to see whether or not that's going to work out for me. And thus far, everything that you see here is all I've used to plan. So we're about 3 weeks into 2018, and I have been at work back from holiday vacation for about 1 week, and I've been able to use everything effectively. So I'm going to go ahead and share my system. So the first thing I want to start out with is my work bullet journal. So this is a Chic Sparrow cover. It is in the leather Outlander, and the color is Time Traveler, which is this really deep navy blue, or royal blue rather, and on the inside it has this very vibrant suede feeling inside, and it has the 3 pockets as well as this large pocket here. So this is the deluxe version. As far as I know, this leather has been discontinued, but I have heard on the Chic Sparrow Facebook page as well as their blog that they may bring back the Outlander leather again for a limited time for pre-order in 2018. So if you're interested in this, I would look out for that by either subscribing to their YouTube channel or checking out their blog. That is the one that I use to hold my work bullet journal and this planner in the front. So this planner in the front is the Jibun Techo, the 2018 version. I did a full review of this on my channel. I'll go ahead and link it down below. This is the smaller version, which is the B6, and I will say that my plan for February is to transfer out of this B6 size and move the A6 size, or A5 size rather, into this bullet journal. So what I do with this one is I have all of my dated events. So here I keep all of my major presentations that I have at work, days that I have off from work, anything that's happening with my son or with my husband that potentially affects my work day. So if he is away on training or going to be out of the house in the afternoon or in the evening, and I know that that means I have to pick up my son, or I might have to come into work very early, I write all of that information here. So I denote days that my son is not going to be at school with this blue. For me, everything that is pink are presentations that I have to do, and whenever I get a piece of paper from my son's school that says, hey, this day is a field trip or this day is something else, I write it here. This solves an issue I had last year because I used to do my monthly overview at the beginning of the month. So when I got some information about something that was happening a month or 2 ahead of schedule, I didn't have a place to put it because I was very concerned with pretty planning, which I still do in one of my other planners, but this really lets me just throw in all of the time specific or day specific information. So I have the monthly overview, and I also have the weekly hourly overview, and I use this to document anything that I have to do at work that is time specific. I also do things like family movie night, whose turn it is to pick the movie, and things of that nature. So I fill it in beforehand using my Google Calendar. I usually do it on Monday right before the week starts. The goal is to probably have this and the Google Calendar updated regularly, so when I have an appointment, put it in both places. But right now I just put those specific appointments into my Google Calendar, and then on Monday, or on Sunday rather, when I do my weekly prep for work and for the week, I go ahead and put all the things that I know have to be done that week in this spread, and then I use it the day before to also fill in some of how I'm going to be accomplishing some of my to-dos in there as well. So that's how I use this planner in the front. And then this is more of a traditional bullet journal style. So I've also done a review of the Rhodia Goalbook, which is what I use on my channel. And specifically, I compared it to the Leuchtturm 1917. So if you're interested in that, I'll link it down below. But it has this built-in system where it already has an index built in, and that's what I use to document what I have inside here. The very first page, I have a key where I write down how I denote different things in the planner. So I have squares or tasks, dots or notes, triangles or questions, and then I have other ones that are less frequently used. This is an example of a planner or a project page that I have. This is an ongoing project. At the very top, I have a timeline, and underneath I write specific times where I expect major milestones to happen. So I have this going from January through November, and I have my expectations of when I'm going to finish some of these major milestones written down here. And then whenever I have a task or a question related to this topic or this project, or I have to research something about this project, I put it in this page. I have denotated the name of the page or the name of the project in my index at the very beginning. I also leave enough room for multiple pages. So if this one goes past page 3, I'll be able to put different pages there in the event that I need to thread pages along. So where the kind of meat and potatoes are of this planner is in my weekly and daily lists. So typically on Sunday night, I go ahead and I start up a new weekly list. This is where I keep my master to-do list for work. So this is every single thing on my plate. Whether or not I'm going to be able to get it done this week or not is irrelevant. I just write every single thing down. That way I'm always reviewing things on my task list. If there is a day that I think that I'm going to be able to accomplish that, I go ahead and put it on the task list for that specific day. It also gives me an opportunity to look at things that I'm just not going to do. I've decided not to get them done at all. So I'll go ahead and X them out on my master to-do list, and then I won't move that over to the next week. I also use this opportunity to, or I also use this to identify when things have been on my list for a long time. So if I don't get this task done or one of these tasks done this week, I use a forward arrow to indicate that I've moved it along from this week to the following week. And then if I'm wondering how long something has been on my task list, I can just go back and see how it continues to reoccur for like 3, 4, 5 weeks. Then I could see if I should drop it or if I should prioritize it given how long it's been on my task list. So this is my master work task list on this week. Then at the start of every day, I go ahead and mark off a line for the day of the week. I also put the date, and then I either choose task lists from this master task list and or I add new tasks as they come along on that day. And then I do the same thing for the next day. So here I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the next page Thursday, Friday, and then I start off the following week. I also use this like a typical bullet journal to house some collections. I just house collections that are specific to work. So in this case, there are several people that owe me several products. So I've listed their names here on the left. I've covered them with a sticky note, but then I also mark off when they give me what they owe me. So that way I have a quick overview when someone says, hey, has like Johnson finished this, or this? I'm like, okay, they've done that, or has Smith handed in this specific thing that was due to you, that I could say, okay, they did that. So this is just a typical collection, and then I have the name of the collection in my index in case I need to reference it after January. So I have tried out different systems. I really like using different colors for different days, but I do like keeping January consistent as this blue because my intention is at the end of the month, every page that I've used for January, I want to mark off with a little blue tab, and then for February, I'll mark it off with whatever color I use for February as well. So that's my intention moving forward. So this is my work bullet journal. Next up is my personal traveler's notebook. So this is also a Chic Sparrow cover. This is in the design or the leather camo, and this one is also no longer available, but I do see it come up quite frequently in the buy sell trade group on Facebook if you're interested in getting your hands on this design. It's kind of a suede-y leather, and I really like how rugged and thick it is. So in this planner, I usually move the planner that I have at the beginning of my work bullet journal, that Jibun Techo. I used to move it, or I still move it back and forth from my work journal to my personal traveler's notebook, but I find that I'm not using it as much in my personal traveler's notebook or at home, so it might not be worth all the effort of moving it from one place to another, which is why I'm moving to the A5 size, and it can just kind of live in my work bullet journal, and if I needed to, I could always just pull it out of there. So that's a change that I'm already planning on making for February. In my personal traveler's notebook, I do decorate a little bit, so this one I've decorated for February already, just getting ready for that. I have my wallet where usually I keep cards that I don't use as frequently. I also have a really small credit card holder where I hold like my work ID card and things, or cards that I use very frequently. But in here I house my cash and cards that I don't use as frequently, and also my checkbook. Then I have my weekly kind of pretty planner. So this is a place where I write all of my personal tasks down, and I also do a lot of heavy decorating. So for example, in January I have washi tape and stickers. I use this as my general overview, so it does have some redundancy because it has things that my son is doing, things that my husband is doing, but it's just in a different format. It reminds me of when things are happening because I do it right before January starts. So it'll remind me, say, that my son has a library coming up in one of these days, so I need to pack up his library book, where I might have written it into my planner a month or two ago, the other Jibun Techo, but I haven't reminded myself that that's happening. So this helps to remind me of things that are coming up, and they're coming up sooner rather than later. I also use this week on 4 pages, so I want to go ahead and show you what it looks like by itself. So these are planner inserts from my shop, and it just goes Monday through Friday and has a blank column on the far left-hand corner. And then the next page is Saturday, Sunday. It has another full open column for the end, and then it has graph paper for the final page of that week. So usually I go pretty heavy with the decorations. So I have my work schedule at the very top. So again, part of it is for redundancy so that I know what's coming up. Part of it is also so that I know if I have a heavy day at work, I'm probably not going to get too much done at home. So when I'm giving myself all of my tasks that are home related, I try to be kind to myself. If I have a busy schedule at work, I'm probably not going to get a ton done at home once I come in the evening, or vice versa. So if I know I have more of a lighter day at work, then maybe I feel like I can accomplish more tasks when I get home. So I write what I'm doing doing at work at the very top. Then I usually write like the most important tasks that I have to do at home, and I have my at-home to-do list, and I also have lots of extra space to do tons of decorations. So this is really what was missing in my last planner system. I had everything in one traveler's notebook, and I was really good at looking at it while I was at work, but I was really bad at looking at it when I was at home because I was trying to stop thinking about work, but my work was like very ever present and very central to my last planner system. So I really enjoyed separating the two. And I got some inspiration from some people on YouTube that just really compartmentalize their lives. They have their planner for work, they have their planner for home, and there is some overlap, and there's an understanding of like things that could go wrong with having that overlap, but there is also that separation. So this is really what I was kind of missing in my planner system last year. The only other insert that I have here is my workout insert, and this is really similar to what I've had before. It just breaks down all the exercises that I'm doing, the sets, the reps, and the weights that I'm using. So I use this pretty regularly, and it just hangs out in the back here. I either take my personal traveler's notebook with me into the gym, or I pull out this insert and I take it with me while I'm working out. So that is my personal traveler's notebook. The last two planners in my system are lovely, but possibly just not essential, even though I do use them pretty regularly. So the first one is this mini happy planner, and I actually picked this up in California a few weeks ago. And this has a really nice setup. It's undated, and it has a monthly overview, which admittedly I do not use. And then it has a space for Monday through Thursday on the first page, and then Friday through Sunday, and then a notes square for a week. So the way that I use this, it's kind of like any situation where I want to jot something down very quickly and I don't want to mess up my traveler's notebook or my work bullet journal, or possibly I just want to be able to write something in very quickly. So an example of this is I sleep with this planner next to me. I take it with me to the bathroom when I'm brushing my teeth in the morning. When I'm cooking dinner, I take this with me. I have it open with me in the car, and I also always take it with me if I am going like to the gym, or I'm stepping out of my office for a second to get some coffee. I might run into someone on the way to the coffee shop and I want to just like write down a note very quickly, and I don't have all of my stuff with me. So this is an example of the week of the 22nd to the 28th of January. So this is the same week that I showed you in my work bullet journal, and clearly I just used it on Monday, which I covered up, and Tuesday, and I didn't use it some of these other days of the week. What I usually do is I keep it closed. I love that it's spiral bound, and I can also put my pen right in there. And if I'm driving and I get an idea, or I'm like brushing my teeth and I'm like, I gotta remember to do this, that is when I use this planner. So it's kind of like my dirty on the go. There's no stickers, there's no fluff, it's just paper and a pen, and I like that I know the day of the week that it happened, the day that it happened, and I can just like write it down very quickly. There's no muss, no fuss. I also am very disciplined, or I try to be very disciplined in migrating tasks and everything out of this into either my personal traveler's notebook or my work bullet journal. That way I have very few open tasks here, and this is never a place where I have information that's exclusive to this notebook. If it's in this notebook, I need to migrate it out, and I try to do that every day. I try to do that as soon as I get to my desk or as soon as I get home, so that way there's no information that sits here exclusively. It's always kind of migrated to where it actually belongs, where it permanently belongs. So that is how I use this mini happy planner. I am quickly losing light, so I just want to go through my final portion of my planner system. This is a sugar leather blueberry from the Foxy fix. This is a A6 size, which I believe is the number 3, and this is my personal bullet journal. So this is where I keep more long-term lists or different things that I want to keep that go past a week and maybe even go past a quarter. quarter, because my weekly inserts that I have in my personal traveler's notebook are only for a quarter, and then I go ahead and archive those and I don't carry them around with me after that. But my purpose or my plan in having this personal bullet journal is having something that I can keep with me for the whole year or maybe even longer. So inside this traveler's notebook cover, I have a Nuna notebook. It is a very reflective cover in copper, and in it I have written my word of the year. I went ahead and started the bullet journal right away, and I did not write an index. My plan is to have an index at the back of this. But I started off with my goals for 2018. I would like to do or accomplish 18 things in 2018 for no other reason than it's 2018. These are the 6 that I've committed to so far, and I intend on filling it out more completely as the year goes by. I thought that I would probably need 2 pages, so I just went ahead and set up this page as a continuation of the previous page. After that, I have some forward planning here, so I've gone ahead and written down tasks that happen at regular intervals, but infrequently enough that I forget them. So things I have to do every month, like change the filter or deep clean the house, or things I have to do every quarter, like change the filter in our water filtration system, I put in here. So personal things that happen that might not be happening even this quarter, I put them in this kind of long-term planning section. So in this page I have May through August, then I have September through December. I also have my reading list, so I want to read 12 books this year, a book a month. So in the squares are books that I've already read, and then outside of the squares are recommendations or books that I'd like to read. Then I have other things. So here I've written down the month. I have orders that I'm tracking or Happy Mail that I'm tracking. Here's just a quotation. Here is some things that I've learned this month. Like right here, I just wrote a note to myself, don't use ink pens in this book because it bleeds. So those are things that I might forget if I don't write them down. Here I have a list of restaurants that I'd like to try. Here are the movies that I'd like to see. Here's a list of the PBC winter sale shops that I wanted to check out. Here's a list of places I want to purchase from on Etsy. Here's a Target list that hasn't been filled out yet. Whenever I think of something that I might need from Target, I want to go ahead and put it in there. I also have some planning information for a cruise in 2019 that I'm taking, so I'm going to go ahead and set up a collection for cruise 2019, and that's all that I have in this book. So this one isn't used as frequently, it's just for things that I want to keep long term. And I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this system, like having a completely separate book for my personal bullet journal. Perhaps I will get a thick insert that I can put into my personal traveler's notebook. Maybe that system will work out better for me than having 4 different books. But for now, this is working for me, and I also just really love this notebook. So I think I'm just gonna try to stick with it and see how it goes. So far for this year with all 4 of these, I feel like I'm totally capable of keeping complete control over what's going on at work and what's going on at home. And my plan is to update you guys at the end of the first quarter of this year, just to let you know how my planner system has been going, how it's working out for me, and also that's probably a good time for me to readjust and to see whether or not I want to keep all of these. Is this too much? Is this too little? Or just another chance to reflect and look on my planner system. So if you have any questions on anything that I mentioned today, you can go ahead and leave them down below. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. And until next time, I hope this video brought you some utility and joy.